Jerry, do we have a problem?
Get something in a minute.
Honey, we had more chicken and more potatoes.
You guys like that? All right, we got something special right now. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what I'm supposed to say. I want to introduce a couple here who've been through some really rough times recently. Can I get your attention, please? There we go. All right. Virginia and Andres Velarde have been members of Larry's class for several years now. Last spring, Andres had a massive heart attack, but he's here today to talk miracles. Virginia and Andres would like to say a few things about these miracles and Larry's witness. Virginia, Andres.
to share what happened to us. I'm kind of scared and I'm kind of nervous. Thank you, Larry, for being with us all this time and for guiding us to and for giving us the support we needed at the time to us and our family. I'd like just to share what the Lord did in this difficult time for us. I'm going to try to be specific. On June 15, my husband had a massive heart attack. Basically what happened, we were ready to go. He doesn't remember much. He was sedated. Easier for you. So what basically happened, we were ready to go food shopping. He was sitting down on the bed. I was ready, getting for me to be ready to go outside, and he fell on the bed. And I saw he's having a heart attack. I called 911. He was out, and I called 911, and he couldn't speak. He couldn't breathe. Nothing. So I started giving him I was trying to do a CPR while I had my cell phone over here. The paramedic came really quick. They took him to Correspondent Hospital. And I was in the waiting room when the doctor came outside 30 minutes after. And she said to me, I'm really sorry, but we did all we can, but your husband is gone. That's what the doctor says. So, of course, I was already called his family. And I get inside and I saw Andres in the bed. It was a bunch of paramedics and left side and the right side giving him a CPR and electric shock. So I went to his side and I spoke to him and said, Andres, you can do this, come on, get up. And I went to his feet and his ankle, and I took his ankle and I went on my knees and I said, okay, Lord, you make me change my church because I was Roman Catholic. So, you make me change my church, you make me fall in love with Jesus. And I remember saying to him, I know he's your son and you can do whatever you want, but I come to you to ask you for mercy. I'm asking you for forgiveness if my husband has done something wrong. But I know, and I have learned in my church that you are the God of Israel. You are the God of David, and you are the God of all miracles. I know, Father, you can do it because I have learned in my word and your word that what for man is impossible, for you everything is possible. And I know Andres is out. Of course, at that time I didn't know any medical issues. I knew he was there, and I know I was praying on my knees, and the doctor was asking me, get up, get up, get up, get up. And I remember one nurse telling me, she came inside and the nurse told me, keep praying, keep praying. That nurse, yeah. And it was a nurse taking his Andres' pulse, and it was nothing. So I said to God, you gave Sarah a baby when she was really old, and you forgave David when he killed a guy. I know you can do it. Help me, Lord. Have mercy on us. And I was kind of open. Whatever the Lord wants, it was whatever he wants. And they were giving him CPR and electric shock and all that. And suddenly someone came and touched Andres' pulse. And that nurse was like, he has pulse. And the doctor was, what? Running around and touching Andres and yeah, he has pulse. So they put everything back to him, and they took him to the Broward General Hospital. When we got there in Broward General Hospital, the doctor couldn't do anything. The cardiologist said his heart is working only 10%. He's not going to make it tomorrow. Call his father, call his family. I went to the ladies' room and I went on my knees and I said, God, I'm walking by faith. I walk in by faith. You show me to walk by faith. And my faith says that for whatever for man is impossible, for you everything is possible. And my faith said that you are with me, you're not going to leave me nor forsake me. My faith said that Jesus Christ lives inside Andres. So his light, your light is inside of him. You made his body, you made his heart, and I'm trusting you, Lord. I was devastated inside of me, but whatever God wanted us to do, it was his will. And suddenly, well, the next thing I did, his family was in the room, but they're Roman Catholic, so it was kind of, the other thing was, I was wearing, when we get to Broward County, the cardiologist assistant came to me and said, do you want me to call your church? And I was like, well, do you know I have a church? You were in church by the leads. I was like, and they said, oh my goodness, I was wearing the black shirt by the blades, and I didn't know. So it was funny, and I said, no, because our family is Roman Catholic, so I don't know what to do now. It was Saturday. And then after that, I was kind of desperate. I need my friends, I need my sister, I need Larry, I need someone to pray with me. And it was in the waiting room with his family, and it was in front of, I was kind of praying, and in front of me, it was another lady. It was a lady. I didn't know her. She was a Christian, and she looked at me and she said, do you want me to pray with you? And I was like, huh? So she prayed with me. Then I went outside the room, and it was another Christian lady who came to me and said, do you want me to pray with you? And she prayed with me. And it was a point where I said, I have to call my friends, my sister. So I called Laquita, because I couldn't find Larry's phone number. I called Laquita, and Laquita, I left a message the next, and I called my friends. I have a group of friends from Calvary Chapel that we do Bible study. They're here. So I called them and I text them, and the prayers started from there. It was so powerful. So my husband's family is a Roman Catholic, and they didn't want too many people in there. But Larry, it was Father's Day when Larry was there, and my husband's father, he's a business guy. His focus is business. And when he saw Larry there praying for Andres, leaving his family to go to see his son, he was moved. He said, this sir left his family just to come and see my son. And I said, that's the love of God in him. And that's the way we're Christian people act. So all his family was really moved with that. After that, all my friends from Calvary, from Church by the Glade, went to the hospital, and we were praying over Andres' body. He was with a bunch of things in his mouth, hundreds of medicine. It was amazing. His kidney didn't work. His lung didn't work. He was breathing with the machine. Nothing was working on him. Only his heart was working 10%. So it was a lot of people around here, a lot of doctors were saying that he's not going to make it. So, but the prayers of everybody and the power of God gave life to each single part of his body. I was texting my friends every time, okay, Andres' kidney is not working. I'm walking by faith. Please pray. Everybody was praying and fasting for Andres. So his kidney came back. Then he has something that it amazed me a lot. He was bleeding inside. Doctors didn't know from where. And he was receiving a lot of blood transfusion every day. And I asked my friends, and my friends for Calvary, from Chapel, from Church by Faith, texting every day, giving them the updated. And I said, said, okay, Lord, you made his body. You can do something with this bleeding. So suddenly, he wasn't bleeding anymore. And the doctor was in shock. This guy's not bleeding. Okay. Then his mother came, and his mom was sleeping at the hospital and praying with him also. And the gorgeous miracle is that at the beginning she asked me, because she didn't know who to pray. So I said, well, just talk to the Lord. Talk to God the same way we talk. And she was praying and praying and praying. And another miracle that happens when his kidneys came back, and then he was stopped, the bleeding stopped. Then it was amazing, all the nurses and all the doctors around him looking at us. Then another thing that God did, it was he touched every single nurse and every single doctor. The cardiologist was saying, he's not going to make it, he's not going to make it. It was one point where Andres, all his body was getting better and better and better. And when Andres was able not to speak, because he was conscious, because most of this time was like for 2 months he was in the hospital and in intensive care. Doctor says, well, he was able to open his eyes and make some movement. Then it was a point where he wasn't able to speak, but he was more conscious. Then they took the machine out of him and he was able to speak. Something that amazed me also was a nurse that was working there with her son. Her son was kind of 30 years old, and he was the one who was always taking Andres' temperature at night. And at night, I used to go inside his room, go on my knees, and pray Psalm 91 over him. And this guy was always getting inside, taking his temperature, right? And when he was on vacation, when he came back, Andres was able to speak. And he was like, that's the guy. And he said, oh my goodness, said this guy, do you know, everybody was praying for you, you know that? And wow, you're speaking, you're doing really good. And Andres said, oh, okay. Then later on, Andres was able to speak with him. And he said, have you ever been in church by the lady? And this guy was, no. Oh, okay. Then, that's it. And he said, oh, you know, your wife was praying for you every day, your mom and everybody was here, and the entire church was here praying for you guys. Oh, whatever you want, and you can go to church by the lady. Okay. The next day, like 3 months later, 3 days later, his mom and him was here at church. So the Lord was kind of working, you know, in everybody's lives. Well, Andres, at the end, the cardiologist spoke to his mom and said, to whom did you pray? No. The cardiologist was like, this guy has been, and the cardiologist said, the medicine didn't save him because I did all I can as a doctor, and I didn't have hope for this guy, and this guy, to whom did you pray? The doctor asked his mom, and his mom said, to God. And then another day I took him to the doctor with his mom, and it looks like this doctor, the Lord was working with him because this doctor was kind of cold, but at the same time with good heart. And this doctor, we took Andres to the his appointment. And then he looked at us and said, oh, Andres, how are you feeling? And so his mom told the doctor, do you know God used you to do this miracle? And I said to him, you must be really special because the Lord chose you to do the miracle. And he was crying. He was like this, crying. He said, I know, now I believe, I know, like, leave me alone. He was like that. I said, I know, now I believe. And I said to him, well, yes, it's the power of God who did all this. Another big miracle that I saw in his family was most of them doesn't go to church. And after this, at the beginning, they didn't really knew Christian people. And now they see us with a little more love and respect and believe in us, which is a big miracle. One of his cousin, he's 20 years old, and I do remember him talking to me in front of the dress room, and he said, "I'm agnostic. I don't believe in miracles and God things, nothing like that." So he asked me, "How do you do?" I said, "Well, just if you don't believe in God, just ask him if he's real, just that, just like that. You ask him and just open your eyes, you're gonna see something on TV or driving, anywhere you will see how God's gonna reveal to you. Or you just read the Bible. Read it. Really, Virginia, just do it. If you're gonna know if it's real or not. That's it." So the funny part was, Andres was getting better and better and better. And his aunt called him and said, "Oh, Andres is getting better. He's sitting down in a chair." And he was like, "What? Is he doing better?" "Yes." "Well, I have to read the Bible now." And we all asked him, "Why is that?" "Well, I made a promise. If he was really real, like Virginia said, that he's really real, I will read the Bible. If he really saved Andres for that thing that happened, that I'm going to read the entire Bible." And I said, "Thank you, Lord." I took my Bible and gave it to him. That's for you. So, I'm still in shock. It's another thing that happened, I do remember inside the hospital. It was a nurse. I don't know what the Lord was working on her, but she was always getting inside Andres' room, cleaning and all that. When Andres was able to speak, and she got inside the room, and Andres said, "Good morning," that lady started crying like a baby. I do remember she was looking at Andres and said, "Oh, such a miracle, such a miracle," and then cry, and she had to go outside the room. And it was kind of like, oh, it's so amazing. Another thing that happened, that when the doctors from Pearl Spring took Andres to Broward, one of the cardiologists, assistant cardiologists, it was a doctor from Calvary who received Andres. And the nurse was from here, from Church by the Lake. Yeah, I was so amazed. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like in shock. I said, "God, do you work such a weird things? I don't understand all of that." But that happened to us. The doctors didn't recognize that it was a miracle until 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later. For them, was not a miracle until they did an Andres scan in his brain, because all the doctors said because Andres was out for more than 40 minutes. He was dead for 40 minutes. And doctors said, well, he doesn't have any, if he survived, he's probably gonna have a brain damage. And I do remember Larry telling me, Virginia, when God starts something, he's gonna finish perfect. So I used to say, okay, Lord, you start this, I'm sure you're gonna start everything perfectly. And his mother also praying, asking to God to do a perfect thing on him. And the doctors did the test in his brain, and it was perfect. It was perfect. Totally healed. Of course, right now, like the doctor says, he's on medication. His heart needs to get stronger. But like all the doctors agreed that it was a miracle. And they took a picture of him to put it in a magazine from the doctors. Apparently they have like records of things that they do when something like that happened. They took pictures of the situation. Even the doctor here in Coral Spring, when she touched Andres and felt the pulse, she said to me, of course they saw me on praying for Andres while they were doing an electroshock and CPR and all that. They said, in 30 years of working, this is the first time I see someone coming back. And I said, well, because God is real. God is real. He does this kind of thing. For me, I was in shock. I couldn't cry for 4 days. I didn't see any angels and nothing like that, but I felt a lot of things, and that's the God we serve. I don't know why He does for some people and not for others, but I just am shocked, and I know the Lord is going to keep doing a lot of miracles around His family, my family, His friends, my friends, and I had my sister, which is so important, from Calvary, and my sister from Church by the Glades, helping me, praying for me during those times, and I just, of course, all the glory is for God. All the glory is for Him who does such a, like Larry said, God has something big for you, bigger than this. It's gonna be like a little scary, but yeah, that happened to us, and I'm really proud to be part of Larry's group, because most of what I learned from the Word of God, it was done at the beginning with Larry's group. He, like Andres, we were not, he didn't really like to go to church sometimes at the beginning, and when he met Larry, he said, "Oh, that's a real person guy." That's the real thing. And of course, Andres doesn't remember much. He was sedated with all that happened. He doesn't remember much. When he hears all that thing, he gets kind of like a little confused and depressed, but like the doctor says, it's going to be 1 year of healing inside, emotional, and his body. But yes, he was out for more than 40 minutes. He was declared dead man, and the Lord did such a miracle. So just praise our God who did all.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to say that I really appreciate everybody praying for me, and miracles happen.
Boy, that's a tough act to follow. Ladies, thank you so much for being there for Virginia, and welcome to Church by the Glades. I think you got my notes, Virginia. Unfortunately, when you lose your hair and it turns gray, you also lose your memory, so without this stuff, I'm lost. That was pretty cool. Hey, we're going to have cake now. What I think we're going to do is, I think we're going to serve the people up near the front, and those of you near the back, if you can just go back and get your cake. Now, I want you to do this very quietly, because we've got some people that are going to come up and entertain us, okay? So, well, we have to wait for the potty break. Let's sing Amazing Grace. Oh, that's another idea. Go get your cake. Come on, quickly, get your cake. Shoot, get your cake. So much for schedules.
I just have a couple potatoes in my mouth as I walk by. I don't know, she gets some cake.
Is he on to you? Okay. He's okay. All right, while you guys are enjoying your cake, I've got Eric Sands, Susie Wilson, and Angelita Rivera.
Are you holding up the lot?
Back from my break. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to say happy anniversary to Larry and Marty. And happy anniversary for the pastor for 2 years. The church. Thank you. You do a great job. And we're going to do a few songs for you here. First one's going to be Shout to the Lord. The second one's going to be Mighty to Save. And the third one is going to be a song I wrote, but I'll touch base with you on that later.
You got plates down there for the cake.
Okay. And feel free to sing along. That's what we're going to need. By the way, that was an incredible testimony. That was really incredible. And Virginia, just to answer your question, why God did it for you, one word, faith. That's what you have, faith. Okay, so I think it's appropriate to segue into Shout to the Lord. My Jesus, my Savior, Lord, there is none like you. All of my days, I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, shelter, tower of refuge. refuge, strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord of the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hand. Forever I love you, forever I stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. My Jesus, my Savior, Lord, there is none like you. All of my days, I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord of the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hands. Forever I love you, forever I stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have. Nothing compares to the promise I have. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. Okay, hold on just a second here while I move it. Okay, this one's called Mighty to Save. And I'm sure a lot of people know this. We sing in the Bible study a lot.
There's no more left.
You're kidding. I never saw anybody drinking.
I guess so.
They were.
Joe, right in front of the camera.
Everyone needs compassion, a love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of a Savior, the hope of nations. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. faults and failures. I feel my life again. I give my life to Father, everything I believe in. Now I surrender. I surrender. Savior, He can move the mountain. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever. Author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. The whole world singing for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. Singing for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. Singing for the glory of the risen King. Savior, He can move the mountain. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever.
Read.
Author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Savior, He can move the mountain. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever. Author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Shine your light and let the whole world see. Jesus, for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Thank you. Praise the Lord.
I just want to say something to Larry and Marty. I appreciate the fact that they're very thoughtful and they have a vision for people. And whenever they see people come into their group and they see their talents, they want them to use them. And that's what I appreciate from both of them. That as soon as you come in, they want you to get involved with something. And they have that vision. And not every leader has that vision, but they do. So thank you.
Okay, this song I wrote, and basically, thank you. And the chorus is, I got Christ in my life and He'll never let me go. You know, some people think that somehow, one day we're saved, maybe one day we're not, and sometimes we're not sure of our salvation. Let me tell you something. Once Jesus saves you, it's a done deal. That's just the way it is. I mean, He didn't go through all that pain and agony on a cross to pay for this sin here and that sin there and maybe not some other sins. If that's the case, then we have to put Him back on the cross to suffer some more to pay for the sins that we, didn't commit. Whatever. The point that I'm making here is He paid for every single sin from the beginning of time to the end of time. So have no illusions about that. The point that I'm making here is that like a father too that loves his son or a mother that loves their daughter, you know that great love that you have for your children. He will never let you go. And that's a love that's incomprehensible, that will never be able to comprehend. And the point that I'm making here is He'll never let you go. So, without further ado, have a big fancy car. I don't have a lot of land I can build on. I don't have a big classy home. But I got my eyes so I can see. I got God's light right in front of me. Got God's strength to keep me strong. Wanna do right so I don't do wrong. Christ in my life, and He'll never let me go. Jesus has cleansed me by His blood and made me white, turn and snow. I don't have a lot of time in this earth. Gotta get out, tell people about Jesus' birth. Let them know that He is the only way. This is what I wanna do day after day. And I got my eyes so I can see. Got God's light right in front of me. Got God's light. Wanna do right so I don't do wrong. I got Christ in my eyes, and He'll never let me go. Jesus has cleansed me by His blood and made me white, turn than snow. Jesus has cleansed me by His blood and made me white, turn than snow. White, turn than snow. White, turn than snow. White, turn than snow. Thank you. Praise the Lord.
Thank you, Eric, Susie, and Angie. We got our own little church here, don't we? We got a praise team, we got a minister. Holy smokes. We better not say that too loud, should we? This church has a bad history. One of Larry's strongest abilities is to inspire other leaders. Larry's teaching and an emphasis on witnessing is a source of inspiration for these church leaders. Larry and Scott Russell were both ordained and serve today as pastors. This is your life, Larry.
Yes, ma'am. You're freezing to death. It's cold. You feel cold. She's freezing. You get over those. No
Yep,
more
it's real. He's a pastor.
Tonight. I go straight home
I laid hands on him.
and get under them.
Dan Cole, Jamie Davison, Dora Monahan all went on to teach other classes. Kyle Boudreau, Louis Tomeo, Tom Monahan, and all of his
He's
stuff.
smart, Allie.
David Lord, Joe Harrington, Laquita Johnson, and Mark Cole all went on to co-teach with Larry. Other members of Larry's class, like myself and Rick Fitzgerald, went on to become ministry
Go home
leaders
and
and
get
deacons.
this. Go home.
As I look around this room, I see a number of people who stepped up into leadership in Larry's class. I'd like to thank those people who stepped up into leadership. As I call your names, you can stand up or just show us who you are. We'd like to thank you for being everything to Larry. Laquita Johnson, class manager. Mark Cole teacher. Donna and her husband, Reed, class treasurer. Cliff Martin, Laquita Johnson, Carol Jobe, social director. Where I come from, we call them party animals. Cliff Martin, chief technician. Singles flock leaders include Medora, Angie Rivera, Judy Foreman, Carol Jobe, Stephanie Sheep, Ricardo Mendez, and Mike Slava. Couples flock leaders include Terry and Laquita Johnson. Special needs flock leaders, Cliff and Karen Martin and Alan Messina. Class committee leaders, birthday cake committee, Sarita Petrie. Salad and dessert, Mike Slava and Lynn Spaharski. And if I've mispronounced anybody's name, I apologize. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. For those of you former Catholics, never mind. I'd just like to introduce somebody right now I think is real special. Well, most of the time he's special. This guy's got one of the weirdest sense of humor I've ever met. He's a Cajun. Maybe that's part of it. He's our current co-teacher. And he's going to tell Larry how much our class appreciates him. Mark Cole, can you come on up and
let's see, give Larry $10. We're just going to take a few minutes here. I know everybody's probably getting tired and ready to go. First of all, let's thank a couple more people. Thank Bob for being our MC. Cliff was already mentioned, but he's running all the tech stuff. We have Oscar, I don't know if he's in here, but his team sets up everything. As you see, this didn't come together real easy. We've got Brian doing the pictures, which you have to pay. There's a charge, right, Brian? Charge. Who else do we have? Let's see. Mary did the food. Well, she didn't make the food, but Mary's in charge of the food and the crew. And the food was catered from Joe's Pasta and Pizza, or Pizza and Pasta? Pizza and Pasta at Lakeview and Poor Ridge, right in the Public Shopping Center. So if you want to patronize them, if everybody liked the food, it's pretty good. Again, this was put together, Laquita and the leadership team put all this together. Larry, did you know about it? Larry, did you know about it? No? I don't believe that. There's no way that happened. No way that happened. Even Larry's not that dumb. There's no way. Just a couple of things, though. We are here to celebrate Larry and Marty's 47th anniversary. Which is no small feat. I'm sure anyone and everyone would be envious of that. And you know, it goes back to, in the beginning, when God said, a man will leave his father and mother and take a wife, and they will become one. They have become one, and they've stayed one, which is the way it's supposed to be. And I think it's very commendable. Also, I remember at Larry's ordination that Pastor Tom made a statement that was real true. He said, Larry, this is merely a formality because you've been acting in the role of pastor for years. And anyone who's had to ask for Larry's help or maybe didn't even know Larry was asked to help and experienced it, whether you had loved ones in the hospital or just needed that. He's done the visitation for years and worked with Bob, which I don't know if Bob's still in here.
If you need 5 by Tuesday,
oh, there he is, okay. That ministry's lasted a lot longer than since Larry was ordained. Just a couple of things here. Getting 47 years together. If we calculate it out, we can kind of guess at Larry's age. But it brings up an interesting point. How young were you, Marty? because you're nowhere near Larry's age. Maybe that stuff may be legal in Ohio, but you know.
It's normal to Louisiana.
Well, yeah. There's a few other states I'm not going to mention. But for those who know Larry's family, and you understand, there are a couple of things that's evident from Larry and Marty you watch. Number one, the definition of a shepherd. Larry is the definition of a shepherd. It's mentioned many times in the scriptures that they take care of the flock. They watch out for the flock. They care for the flock. Larry and Marty both do that. For those who have experienced it, I know I have, and most of us in here have, thank you very much, both of you. We appreciate it. And last thing, I want to read something, and I think you'll understand where it applies. In Psalm 128, it says, "How blessed is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. When you shall eat of the fruit of your hands, you will be happy, and it will be well with you. Your wife shall be like a fruitful vine within your house, your children like olive plants around your table. Behold, for thus shall the man be blessed who fears the Lord." I think it's pretty obvious that Larry fears the Lord. I think he's shown it to all of us, and that's probably the key to his success. So, Ricardo, Judy, are you guys close? Can you come up here? While they're coming up, let's just say a few things about the videos, a very few things. We can take two things from that. Number one, Elvis is definitely dead. And the second thing is that I really don't think the church should allow alcohol consumption